Hola mis estudiantes, buenos días. Hoy vamos a hablar sobre el subjuntivo. We're going to continue talking about the subjunctive. If you hear mis niños in the background, por favor, just perdónme. Ellos están en la casa conmigo. Lo siento. But today we're going to review everything we've talked about with subjunctive, and then you are going to learn a new little acronym. So first of all, we talked about what the subjunctive is, okay? And I feel like you all know the meaning pretty well. We also talked about how to form a conjugated subjunctive verb. That is taking the yo form of any verb in the present tense, and then all we're going to do is do the switcheroony. So AR verbs will have ER endings, and ER-IR verbs will have AR endings. And with that, a person hears subjunctive when they hear that switcheroony. We also talked about a clause, that very rarely does a subjunctive verb stand on its own. It almost always has a clause in front of it. And that is something like ojalá que, yo quiero que, yo deseo que. And that kind of signals that the subjunctive is coming. We learned that the clause is not in the subjunctive form. It can be in the present, preterite, whatever form, but it is not subjunctive. It signals the subjunctive is coming on. You all learned this week your irregulars, dishes, which is dar, ir, ser, haber, estar, and saber. We know that they have really weird yo forms, so therefore they have their own irregulars, and it's good to just go on and memorize those. And some of them are literally called irregular because we just add an accent, okay? You guys also learned stem changers. We did a little review on stem changers and how when you conjugate in the yo form, if it's a stem changer, you can't forget that because it's going to be huge. We also reviewed go verbs, tango, salgo, algo, pongo, and how when you go to the subjunctive, that go stays there. Tanga, tangas, tanga, tangamos, tangan, okay? And you all have learned that subjunctive is very highly used with doubt and uncertainty. But today we're going to go a step farther, and this is one of our last steps. And you're going to learn that it's not always just doubt and uncertainty. Doubt and uncertainty is the big picture of it, but we're going to go, imagine doubt and uncertainty in a circle, and we are going to spread beyond that and really dissect that doubt and uncertainty and when you can use the subjunctive. So, there is a very popular acronym in the Spanish-speaking education community when teaching the subjunctive, and it is called WEIRDO, okay? WEIRDO is an acronym of all the situations you can use to develop a clause, okay? So we're going to take that doubt and uncertainty and we are going to expand. All right, so here we go. If you are at home, please write this down in your notes. This is really important, okay? And I will also be sending you a helpful little chart later to help you with WEIRDO. So the first one is W, and that is wishes. This is when you have a wish or a want for someone. Once again, it is doubt and uncertainty because just because you wish it doesn't mean that they or whoever you're talking to is going to get it. This would be, an example of this would be quiero que. I want that my students pass the test. There's uncertainty there. Even though I wish it, I don't know. But this W is wishes and wants. Yo deseo que, yo quiero que, yo prefiero que. I prefer that. But once again, it goes back to that uncertainty. The next one is called emotion. This is when you express an emotion with subjunctive. An example would be siento que. The verb sentir is to feel, so siento que means I feel that. So if you're talking to someone and you might say, I feel that you're mad at me, okay? It's uncertain, okay? But we're going even deeper with emotion. Another one could be temo que. The verb temer is to fear. So if you say temo que, that could say, I fear that. Temo que mis estudiantes no estudian mucho, okay? I fear that my students don't study a lot. I'm not talking to you all, just an example. But that would be an example of emotion. Then you go down, we have what's called impersonal expressions. These are things such as, it's better that, it's bad that, it's good that, it's interesting that. It's necessary that. Things that kind of have just kind of a impersonal clause, okay? So this one's es mejor que. Es mejor que los estudiantes tengan tiempo para estudiar. It's better that, or best that, the students have time to study. So an example for this could say I was in a meeting and we were talking about, I don't know, the NTI schedule and how we were wanting to make it better for the kids. And we talked about maybe making the classes longer and the Google Meets longer. And somebody spoke up and said, no me gusta. Es mejor que, it's best that los estudiantes tengan tiempo para estudiar. It's better that the kids have time to study. Now, when they're saying this statement, they're making an impersonal expression. They're making just a kind of roundabout statement. But in the conversation, it belongs to a bigger conversation. I gave a suggestion. I said something, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be taken into account. So once again, that statement goes along with a little bit of uncertainty of the whole entire situation. Just because I made an impersonal expression, it may not change the situation, if that helps, okay? The next one is request and recommendations. So I could say something like, pido que, I request that, or recomiendo que, I recommend that mis estudiantes estudian mucho. Just because I recommended it or request it doesn't mean it's for sure going to happen. Once again, it takes it back to that bigger foundation of uncertainty. Next, we have doubt. This one's really simple. Here's an example. Dudo que, I doubt that. That automatically goes back to doubt and uncertainty, okay? Then at the bottom, we have ojalá. You all learned this week that ojalá, there's an accent over the last A, ojalá que is one of the most popular phrases to use with subjunctive. So therefore, it has its own letter. I hope this helps you all out. I am going to be sending you a list of all kinds of different clauses that go in each letter. For instance, impersonal, es necesario que, it's necessary, es mejor que, es malo que, es bueno que, es interesante, it's interesting that. Those would be impersonal expressions. Request and recommendations. You could say, I recommend that, I request that. Even maybe I'm hoping that, and that could also fall in wishes, okay? So I'm going to send you all that. And the big thing to know is clauses most of the time signal subjunctive is coming, but you can also have a clause and not see subjunctive, and that means that it kind of takes away the uncertainty. If you hear a clause, let's say that I am fighting for the fact that the students do study a lot. So let's say that I am talking to the principals and I say, no, the kids really, really, really do study. And I told them, recomiendo que mis estudiantes estudian mucho. Now, that Spanish listener is not going to hear subjunctive. So literally, I recommended to the kids that they study a lot. And then there was subjunctive. Does that mean that they're studying a lot? Possibly, okay? Now, if you hear subjunctive, we go back to uncertainty. Are they? We don't know. So just understand that just because you have a clause doesn't mean it's always subjunctive. But clauses and subjunctive kind of go together like a peanut butter sandwich, okay? You've got your peanut butter and then normally you've got your jelly, okay? Now you can have a peanut butter sandwich with just the peanut butter, but most of the time you're going to smack some jelly, aka the subjunctive on there. I hope this helped you guys. I am going to be sending out that chart, and then I will see you guys on Tuesday. Have a great fin de semana. Adios. Hasta luego.